Habakkuk 2, verse 1, it says, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Lord answered me and said, Write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Giving all praise to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Makaha Kodash. Double honors to the elder apostles at Great Millstone, do rule well. Peace, love, and blessings to the brothers on the highways and byways, giving all diligence to make a call and election sure. I'm the fellow Kanakala, coming to you once again with another lesson, Lord's will, through the Spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. This lessons edifying and exhorting. And, as we say, double honors to the elders of Great Millstone, because through the Spirit, as we heard this gospel through them, all right, all these things, everything that they said is now coming to pass, all right, even though you got AI basically, taking over the internet, certain things you used to be able to find, you can no longer find. But, we ain't had time to watch, man. This is it. Everything is here, all right. This quote, and I believe, I forget who, maybe Elder Gabar, but I know definitely when the elders used to do the end of the world show, this quote, whoever was doing the post-production editing on the videos, and this is supposed to be from David Rockefeller, but like I said, they've basically cleaned up the internet on everything. Then when you search this quote up, is allegedly, no concrete proof, but it makes sense today. All right. So it says, we are on the verge of a global transformation. All we need is the right major crisis, and the nations will accept a new world order. David Rockefeller. All right. So all these quotes from the elites, now they're all allegedly, now they have AI to basically govern and monitor the web. All right. But this was a quote supposedly back in 1994. And as you can see, the global we're on the verge of a global transformation. All we need is the right major crisis, and the nations will accept the NWO. And that's basically resetting your money. All right. With the Strait of Hormuz, basically what it's doing is collapsing the global economy. All right. And you're going to have to switch over to the new system. That's why we always get on these camps that teach anything other than the mark of the beast, found here in Revelation 13 chapter, the 16th verse. If they teach anything other than the mark of the beast is the chip, it's incorrect. And again, I'm just read right through Revelation 13 and 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And this is the point. And this is what we always emphasize. And that no man might buy or sell, say that he had the mark or the name of the beast or the name of his name. Which is why this global crisis, all right, this major crisis that's affecting all these nations, all right, is basically just to reset your money. That's all they're doing. All right. So you see here, RT, U.S.-Israeli war on Iran could push 32 million into poverty. All right. And then, that's nothing. 32 million. The elites said they want to maintain population under 500 million. There's over 800 billion people on the face of the earth. All right. It says the global shock from energy, food. And again, they say that this quote was allegedly, there's no proof of it. But as you can see, there's a global transformation taking place. And this is a right major crisis. crisis. Okay, why? Read this. It says the global shock from energy, food, keyword global, and trade disruption is disrupting the global trade, threatens the well-being of 162 countries. Come on, according to a UN report. So, you know, we know there's a shadow government behind the scenes, elites operating. Hey, and this is their handiwork. All right, this is their signature work here. If you have eyes to see, okay, and there's no turning back from this. Too much damage has been done. Too much infrastructure has been hit in the Middle East. You gotta understand this war. The effects are irreversible. All right, all the U.S. military bases in that region have been destroyed. That took millions and billions of dollars to put up. It's been destroyed. Okay, so these are life changes. There's a global transformation taking place. There's a shift in power. All right, America is losing its power, is losing its authority, is losing its influence, and you have these other nations. All right, gearing up to take that spot. But we know, according to prophecy, that's not going to happen. All right, and the elites, they're done with America anyways. They were just using America as the hammer. But they're going to collapse America, collapse all these global economies, and then enslave everyone under a new system. All right, well, all nations will be on one system. Okay? All nations will go digital. It's basically what they're doing. And that'll be the small hats, the elites, the Edomites trying to fulfill their NWO, where they have everybody globally chipped. All right, everybody under one system. But they're only going to get so far. It says the U.S.-Israeli war against Iran could push up to 32 million people into poverty worldwide, despite the current tentative ceasefire, as global economic shocks ripple far beyond the conflict zone. All right, so it's far beyond the conflict zone, man. So this isn't just a Middle East problem. All right, conflict. This is affecting the world. According to a new UN report, in a report released on Monday, the UN Development Program said the impact could span 162 countries, with the heaviest burden falling on low-income and import-dependent economies. It also warned of significant long-term harm to poor countries far removed from the fighting. Again, this crisis could definitely has the capability of killing billions of people, man. That, and also the war, where millions and millions of men will die. Okay, so this has to be it. We're weeks and months away from this taking place, and the kingdom of heaven is so close. All right, it's very, very, very close. As we opened up with, watch for the end shall speak and not lie. This is it, man. It says UN Under Secretary General Alexander De Croo said the war, which is in the 6th week, is development in reverse. Conflict can undo in weeks what countries have built over years, he explained. The shock of the escalation of the conflict in the Middle East is not limited to countries directly affected, but falls disproportionately on those with the least fiscal room to absorb higher energy and food crisis, which will be that famine, man. All right. So the report says those most vulnerable to the fallout are countries in Gulf region, Asia, sub-Saharan Africa, small island developing states. It adds that the conflict has now entered an enduring phase, and the longer it goes on, the greater the risk for countries to fall into poverty. And that's the plan. Again, quoting David Rockefeller, the nations will be willing to accept, all right, CBDC, central bank digital currencies, because this energy crisis is going to collapse their economies. All right, it's going to collapse the old monetary system, and of course they're going to be willing and ready to accept it, which they already are now. All right, there's reports of how many nations have already went digital, man. Okay, the UN Development Program said rising fuel and food prices are forcing governments into difficult trade-offs between stabilizing economies and maintaining spending on health, education, and social protection. It also called for targeted cash transfers to shield the most vulnerable, estimating that up to $6 billion could be needed to offset the worst impacts, while warning against broad subsidies, which it said are less effective and fiscally unsustainable. We'll finish the rest of this article out. It says, at the center of the global economic shock is the Strait of Hormuz, a critical maritime choke point through which around 20% of global oil supply passes. Disruptions and blockades have pushed oil prices above $100 per barrel. The strait is also a key artery for fertilizer and natural gas shipments, and the de facto closure threatens global agriculture. All right, it affects global agriculture. All right, fertilizer. It says the war has already caused thousands of deaths across the Middle East, including Lebanon, where Israel has continued to strike despite the U.S.-Iran ceasefire. It has also led to the displacement of an estimated 3.2 million people in Iran and more than a million in Lebanon. The Greater Israel Project. All right, but you see it, man. There's no questioning it. That this is it. Read this quote one more time. I got some more precepts. It says, we are on the verge of a global transformation. All we need is the right major crisis, and the nations will accept the new world order. All right, so all these things are taking place. All these things are happening. Simply put, they just resetting your money, making it digital so they can minister or subscribe to you this mark, which is the NFC near field communication chip, man. So let's go from there to Luke. Matter of fact, let's see something real fast. See if I can find this precept real fast. If not, then I'll continue on to Luke. I think it's in the Old Testament. In Apocrypha. Might be Ezra's. Yeah, Ezra 16 and 22. And I'll get right to the point. It says, for many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. All right. It says, and the dead shall be cast out as dung, which is unalive bodies in the streets, man. It says, there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted and the city shall be cast down. All right. But the point I want to get is, for many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine. And that's what this crisis will bring, a famine. All right. And they're going to leave you out to dry for a minute before they come with the solution to the issue. All right. Let's see. Luke 12 and yeah, that's 35. And I read it, let's see. I'm going to read it in the NLT, but when we get to the 38th verse, I'm going to switch to the KJV. It says, be dressed for service and keep your lamps burning. All right. And dress for service. That's this word. All right. Having this word on you, your lamps burning, this knowledge shining, man. All right. It says, as though you were waiting for your master to return from the wedding feast, then you will be ready to open the door and let him in the moment he arrives and knocks. So we clearly see, hey, this is that time. Yahushua is on his way, man. Okay? And those that are in the know, the insiders, we've been given the signs. Wars and rumors of wars. Most important, the prophecy. As we see, though, the money is worthless as inflation increases. Your buying power decreases. So it costs more money to buy the same products. And people looking at it as the prices of things are going up. And it's just your money is losing its buying power. As we say, inflation. Okay? Which is also prophesied in the scriptures. So once your money goes to zero, it's worthless. All right? It just doesn't mathematically make sense anymore. When you hyperinflation, where a product that used to cost $10 costing you $100, for an extreme example. But that's what we're talking about. Hyperinflation to the point is useless. It's worthless. It's not worth anything. And that's what's happening to issue in the new system. So that prophecy is right at the door. Okay? And then the war, we hear. There's another financial war, another banker's war. But this time, this one will lead to the return of the Lord, man. This isn't just going to be another world war. This will be the war to end all wars. This will bring in a second death. Because the weapons used in this war, okay, will usher in the destruction of this age. Luke 12:37, the servants who are ready and waiting for his return will be rewarded. I tell you the truth, he himself will seat them, put on an apron and serve them as they sit and eat. Verse 38 KJV, and if he shall come in the second watch or come in the third watch and find them so, blessed are those servants. So we watching. And we are very confident that this is it, man. There's really nothing more for this devil to do than to crash the system and implement his technology and try to fulfill his NWO. And he's going to move fast, too. As he's moving fast, he's going to move even faster. Okay, things are going to move very quick. As you already see, the Most High is shortening the times. Days will go by so fast. But he's going to move very, very fast, man. Very fast. All right? It's going to be quick. Before you know it, our temptation will be here. And I'll close out with that one, Revelation 3:10, which I will read in the NLT. It says, because you have obeyed my command to persevere, I will protect you from the great time of testing that will come upon the whole world to test those who belong to this world. Now, what did he say? We're on the verge of a global transformation. Global. Another word for world. All we need is the right major crisis and the nations will accept the new world order. So that's the testing to try the whole world. All right? And they're gonna chip most of the people. As Eltar said, once he get majority of the people on planet Earth chipped, but he ain't gonna chip the elect. All right? He's only gonna get so far. and the Lord shall rain upon him while he's eating. Some leave it there, man. We've heard it. Everything that the apostles have said is now happening. So call Halal Mla Yahweh Bashiyan Shai. And shalom to the elect.